Hey there, Mr. Redder here. Welcome back to another episode of r/entitled Parent Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today. My coworker brings her dog to work. She was asked to stop after a few incidents, so she wrote us a crazy 4-page memo. After that, Karen just drops off her baby at my apartment and demands that I babysit for her. And after that, absolutely no overtime. Sure thing, boss. Now for every thumbs up this video gets, one Karen does not get to take her dog to work. I still can't believe that's a thing, to be honest. So please smash that like button and subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. My coworker brings her dog to work. She was asked to stop after a few incidents, so she wrote us a crazy 4-page memo. I live in a small town and started working as a night auditor in a hotel a few months back. I rarely ever interact with other employees, let alone the guests. I enjoy it. Lots of time to read and mess around on Reddit. Recently, due to several wildfires and the mandatory evacuations they've created, we've had an influx of long-stay guests who have lost their homes. We also have several fire crews in-house, which has been fun. No sarcasm there, they're great. The issue, however, is this. The other night auditor brings her dog to work. It is not a service animal. While the hotel is pet-friendly, she's been asked to stop bringing her pet in with her. She has ignored these requests. Recently, we've been getting complaints. Her dog has chased people through the building, attempted to bite guests, attack them, and fight other dogs. In response to these complaints, she started locking her dog in the guest dining area and the kitchen. Her dog has been going to the bathroom in the kitchen, which is an issue. When our bosses finally put the boot down and told her no more pets, she wrote a 4-page memo about the issue. Short version, she admitted that her dog had done everything stated above, but the reason people were complaining was because of the Illuminati's plot against her and her pet. I wish I was kidding. Here's the memo, in all of its glory. I've redacted identifying names, including the dog's name. Communication post, September 8, 2022. At this time, it would be best practice to leave all employee pets at home due to several complaints and concerns from guests. While we understand that we know and love the pets of staff members, we cannot possibly tolerate pets being aggressive to guests. September 16, 2022. Dear staff, this letter is in response to the comments above, which was posted in the communication log on September 8th. If you have any comments, please feel free to post them at the bottom of this letter. A bit of background about my dog, my canine companion. She is 1 year old and has been with me at this hotel since she was 8 weeks old. Together, she and I are the night auditors. It's worked out well because she stays awake with me during the shift and we both sleep during the day. She likes all of the front desk staff and gets excited when it's time to come to work so she can greet them and begin her shift. So far, she likes this person and this person the best, possibly because they've made her feel welcome and they're kind to her. Many of the guests also like her, and she has received many compliments from them. She has gone through various stages of development and growth, and presently she's at the stage of finding her voice and honing her socialization skills in a public setting. She and I eat a plant-based diet to teach her non-violence and harmlessness. Her food is scientifically fortified, which I have to purchase online from a specialty company in order for her to take in all of the necessary nutrients to keep her strong and healthy in body, mind, and spirit. I take her training seriously, and the ultimate goal is for her to be peaceful, calm, socialized, and comfortable with all. So far, she sees the hotel as her house and is presently working on understanding that it's okay that other people besides the staff members may come and go through the front door. She barks to announce the arrival of people she doesn't know, and therefore I keep her gated, behind the desk when guests are circulating about. She does not bark behind the desk. In time, I feel she will relax more and more. When everyone has gone to sleep and it's quiet in the hotel, I allow her to play with her toys in the lobby area, and she likes to follow me into the laundry room, etc., while I go about my cleaning duties. Her socialization training is something we diligently work on, and there's still room for improvement in this area. The other night, Redacted informed me that 2 guests approached her on September 8th and yelled at her about something. Apparently, the guests stated that my dog barked at them. It's possible that my dog barked at them, as stated. However, I can't recall who this is or verify this because neither of these people approached me about the issue or came to the desk to speak with me directly. I apologize again for this, as I know it doesn't feel good to be on the receiving end of a complaint or when someone unloads on us. It was also brought to my attention from a different staff member that the man named Redacted, who stayed with us on August 31st, complained to the front desk that my dog barked at him and chased him down the hall. This I can verify to be true. It was after hours, quiet in the hotel, and she was following me around while I cleaned. Mr. Redacted unexpectedly walked down the hall and it startled her, but she also chased after him as he walked away and expressed her disapproval of him. I redirected her immediately and apologized on her behalf.
Gee, maybe this is why you shouldn't have your dog with you at work.
A bit later, the lobby and the hotel were quiet again. No one was around, and so I allowed her to play with her toys in the lobby area. It goes without saying that the lobby is a public area, and the guests should always feel comfortable coming and going as they like, but Mr. Redacted was making his presence known deliberately to rouse my dog and walked through the lobby several times in the wee hours of the morning to go smoke in front of the building. I finally realized that he was doing this purposely to harass her, and I put her in the other room with the door shut. His response was to yell at her, and the following morning he reported the incident to the front desk and was rewarded a free night's stay at the hotel due to his complaint. Adding here that Mr. Redacted was charged a cleaning fee due to housekeeping finding towels and sheets that were filthy and everything had to be thrown away. He's a troubled man, and while we can hold compassion for him, I don't recommend he be allowed back at this hotel. As stated above, there is room for improvement with my dog's socialization skills, which she and I are dedicated towards making her a success. It is important that she behaves properly and like a nice young lady while she is here. She's a loving, funny, and loyal little being, and it is a blessing that she is here on planet Earth. She's helped me to tolerate the grave shift hours too, with her excellent company and companionship she provides. I'm now going to explain something that may seem strange, but it is necessary to add this, because it is the truth, and it relates to what happened with the complaints against my dog. Some of you are already aware that my second job is light working. I am a light worker for Planetary Ascension. Recently, I completed some work to shine light upon the reptilian negative alien races who are present on this Earth plane and who are behind organized crime. The reptilians have demonstrated vicious behaviors, and they are very dangerous towards humans and animals. This information about their presence has been kept from mainstream society. However, things are heating up planet-wide, and a full disclosure event will be taking place in the near future. I've studied these alien races since 2015, and I am acutely familiar with their attacks against those of us who stand up for the light and shine light upon their darkness. The recent complaint against my dog was a deliberate and planned attack against me. The reptilians targeted my dog and used the situation to get back at me, to retaliate because of my recent work in calling out their crimes. My contact with the authorities was on the same day, August 31st, that Mr. Redacted made his appearance, and the other two complaints came afterwards for 3 in a row. Noting that the reptilians are reading this post as they are able to track, spy, and interfere via advanced technology through television, computers, cell phones, and other devices. Therefore, I'm letting them know that God is my witness, and I will assist in standing up for those who have no voice. To recap, under normal circumstances, and especially at a hotel which allows dogs, if a dog barks at someone, normally the person would shrug it off, as long as it doesn't continue, which it didn't. I redirect my dog each time and lovingly encourage her to be peaceful and calm. She also has never nipped at anyone. Her barking is instinctive, and with time it will ease up, and I feel confident that she will be more at ease as she gets through this growth stage. Also, my dog is absolutely heartbroken that I've left her at home. I'm keeping her at home for a few weeks to work more intensely on her training and plan on using a vibrating bark collar to better get her attention. Her time away from the hotel will allow the tension from the dark forces to settle too. When I feel she has improved with her barking and listening skills, I plan on bringing her back to work with me. Thanks for listening and for keeping an open mind and an open heart.
Well, I guess now is as good a time as any to tell you all that I am Karen Akatosh of the Galactic Federation of Light, sent here by the Ashtar Command from the Pleiadian system. I am here to spread love and light and to fight the Draconian...
Karen?
Yes?
Shut up. Karen just drops off her baby at my apartment and demands that I babysit for her. I, female 24, am an aunt to my 1-year-old niece, Ava. My sister and brother-in-law live close to me, so I babysit for them sometimes. They don't pay me, but I'm happy to do it anyway. On Friday was their anniversary, and they asked me 3 weeks in advance if I could babysit. I provisionally agreed because I had nothing else planned. My plans changed, however, when some of my old college friends told me they were stopping by my town on Friday. I haven't seen them in nearly 3 years, and I really wanted to see them. I gave my sister 5 days' notice that I could no longer babysit on Friday, and that she would have to make other arrangements. She didn't respond to the text, but she read it, so I assumed that it was okay. On Friday, however, sister stopped by my house with Ava. I was confused and asked why she was here. She told me she was leaving Ava with me as originally planned. I said again I was busy. She replied that family is more important than my silly college friends, and I should step up to my responsibility as an aunt. Before I could protest, she bolted back to her car where brother-in-law was, and they drove off, leaving Ava with me. I tried to call her after she left, but she had her phone off and none of my calls went through. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't leave Ava alone, but I also didn't want to cancel my plans. There's no other family members who live near me. However, I do have a friend, Jade, who lives near. She's good with kids and does babysitting as a side hustle. I called her and explained the situation, even offering to pay her to look after Ava, but she was understanding and said she'd do it for free. I thanked her profusely and dropped Ava off. I texted my sister to say I had left Ava with Jade and to collect her from her house. It's relevant to the story that neither sister nor Ava know Jade personally. My sister didn't respond immediately, but after about 2 hours, she started spamming my phone. I turned my phone off as I was already out by that point anyway. They picked up Ava later that evening and she was perfectly happy. However, my sister and brother-in-law are furious at me for dumping Ava with a stranger, even though they know Jade is a trusted friend of mine. They accused me of endangering my own niece. Many other family members have sided with them, and I've been getting angry texts all weekend. I really don't know what to think. I feel like I acted as best I could given the circumstances. Am I the jerk? Not the jerk. Yes, your sister asked you 3 weeks in advance, but 5 days is plenty of warning that you wanted to change plans. The fact she didn't call you back or try to negotiate with you and just dropped your niece off and ran isn't funny or cute. She's the parent, and her kid is her and her husband's responsibility, not yours. Welcome to parenthood. She seems to be confused on this point. You don't owe her free babysitting at all. Her antics of drop and dash and then using other family as flying monkeys to guilt trip you are childish, selfish, and disrespectful. So for the foreseeable future, no matter what, when she asks you to babysit, tell her no. Make her reach out to other mommy friends, get into a babysitter group, or her husband's family or friends can step up. Only offer to take your niece when you want to see her at your convenience, or be available as a sitter in a true emergency, like a hospital or funeral home is involved. But other than that, she needs boundaries and consequences for her crap. Give them to her. Well, who do you think is the jerk? OP or her sister? Please let us know.
Sometimes entitled parents need to learn the hard way. If an entitled parent is furious with you over a decision you made, you probably did the right thing.
Absolutely no overtime. Sure thing, boss. I work for a very large corporation in the IT department. I worked my way up from first level support to the back office team, aka escalation team, like second level but slightly above them. I essentially fix business critical issues that are escalated up from first level to second level. On the back office team, we are a team of 6, and we all have certain areas we specialize in, but are cross-trained in all areas to help cover when people go on vacations or call in sick. My area of expertise is the network team, and another area that I cannot say or it will give away the company I work for. But to put this in perspective, the company I work for owns several hundred retail locations from coast to coast in the USA. Because we are in the last fiscal quarter of the year, the budget is tightening. Not because the company is low on money, but because all of upper management wants to stay within a certain range so they can get their bonuses for saving the company money. So a very strict no overtime policy is implemented. At first, I didn't think much of this because I preferred to work my 40 hours a week and spend time with my family. But there was a particular incident this past Friday that fueled my malicious compliance on Saturday. As I said before, there are 6 of us in the back office team. But on Friday, we had one guy off on paid time off and a couple of call-ins, which left just myself and another guy working. We will call him Matt. Matt worked the opening shift, and I worked a later evening and closing shift to cover the West Coast. Because it was just the two of us, we were pretty busy. As the day wore on and closer to Matt's quitting time, we were slammed. We had 4 locations where their network had gone down, and I was dealing with 2 techs on site I was trying to guide to set up new equipment. When 5 p.m. hit, Matt had asked management if he could stay an extra 30 minutes to help me out. Management gave a very quick and hard no and reminded us of the no overtime policy. So Matt had to leave at his scheduled time and leave me with a huge mess to try and fix. I worked the rest of the night on back-to-back issues, and I was able to get them sorted out before it was my quitting time. But I had to work through my break. That is when I decided I would not overextend myself and will follow the new policy. The next day is when the malicious compliance started. I was working the Saturday shift, and since Saturdays are slower, just 2 of us are scheduled. Well, on this particular Saturday, the guy I was supposed to work with called in, and because no overtime was allowed, they couldn't call in another person to help me out. As the day wore on, I was increasingly busy being the only back office person working. The last hour of my shift, something broke on the server side, and dozens of stores were not able to perform transactions or take credit card payments. I worked hard to resolve it, but the end of my shift was nearing. Cue malicious compliance. The end of my shift hit, and I had made 0 strides in fixing the issue. But because we were on a strict no overtime policy, I clocked out and left, leaving dozens of stores down and unable to make money. I forwarded the information to the on-call supervisor, but they rarely check anything over the weekend, so the issue went untouched until Sunday afternoon when management finally saw my reports and emails from Saturday afternoon. The company lost countless dollars in sales, probably in the 6-figure range at least. My phone was blowing up all day Sunday as management tried to get further details from me. But because of the no overtime policy, I could not answer my phone, as that would require me to log hours and that would be overtime. So I did not speak with management until today. When asked why I left work without fixing the issue, I simply showed them the no overtime policy emails they've sent out every week for the past few weeks. They quietly dismissed me back to work, knowing they had messed up and caused this. A few hours of overtime cost the company hundreds of thousands of dollars. Am I the jerk for sending the police to the airport to retrieve my mom's jewelry? My husband, who's 33, adores his mom. He's the only child in the family and they're very close. He'd buy her expensive gifts for her birthdays, but this year he's been stressing out about finding a proper gift for her. Since he's been unemployed for 6 months now, he brought up the jewelry set my mom gave me and asked if I was willing to give it away so he could use it as a gift for his mom's birthday. I said no and thought that his request was strange. He pointed out how many other things I have for mom, which is true, but the jewelry set wasn't something I was willing to give away, especially not to his mom. He got upset and pitched a fit and kept begging me to give it to him, even offered to buy it off of me, but he has no money, so he suddenly stopped bringing it up. On the day of his trip to go visit his mom and attend her birthday, after he left the house, I found a small note that he wrote mentioning he took the jewelry set with him and telling me to not panic or do anything stupid and that we would talk about it when he gets back. I was furious, but I felt hopeless. I thought I was never going to see the set again. I called his phone, but he turned it off after hanging up on me. I called my older cousin who works at the local police station and told him what had happened. He suggested that I make a report so he could help me retrieve it. He then sent police patrol to the airport where my husband was, and he was taken in and his ticket canceled. I got the set back and he was eventually let go, but when he got home, all heck broke loose and he started losing it on me, yelling about my cousin, calling him a stuck-up jerk, saying we both were horrible and out of line and that I know my cousin hates him and gave him an opportunity to humiliate him. He then yelled about how he missed his mom's birthday and had his trip ruined just because I hate his mom this much. I don't hate her, but I don't want my stuff given away on my behalf. He was livid to the point where he went to stay with his buddy for 2 days without answering any of my calls. I'm seriously having regrets about it, but what was I supposed to do after he took my jewelry set and had me thinking that I may never see it again? Getting my cousin involved might also have just worsened his relationship with my husband since they have never been on good terms to begin with. Am I the jerk for involving the police as a way to get the set back? Not the jerk. I know it gets tossed around a lot here, But this is actually divorce-worthy for your own financial, emotional, and physical protection. He obviously loves his mom more than he loves her. When he lies and steals from her, then gets mad at her when he gets stopped. What a jerk. Have him move back in with his mommy. This will never stop. Not the jerk. Let him stay at his buddy's forever. Seriously, divorce. He stole from you, lied to you, blamed you, is throwing a tantrum because he got caught in his theft, puts his mom before you, he's jobless and is mooching off you. Yeah, no. Just leave. No per diem without an overnight stay? Well, okay then. Background. Worked for this company over 20 years, all of it in a senior IT position. It's a manufacturing company. Our products are shown in a trade show twice a year. Due to our using lots of tech toys to demo the products, IT has to go to the show space early to set up, fine-tune, etc. And after the customer part of the show is over, about 4 days of that, we have to stay behind and take it all apart, etc. A senior member of IT, me, has to go early each day to set up the space, turn on all the techie stuff, make coffee, and in general, get everything ready for the sales teams to come in for their 7 a.m. meetings. This also means staying in the space until everyone is left and shut it all down and lock up. The trade show is within driving distance of my house, important for later. But due to having to be there at the crack of dawn to open up sales, to have meetings at 7 a.m., I have to get up hours earlier than I normally would. Again, important. Company policy, almost verbatim here. If you have to travel outside of your normal territory and leave your house more than 1 hour before your normal time and arrive back home more than an hour after your normal time, then you are allowed a meal per diem. So for 20 years, twice a year, I've been turning in my mileage and daily per diem for meals for 7 or 8 days and getting reimbursed without a word being said. Until 2 years ago. 2 days after I turn in my expenses, I get a call. Sorry, but have to deny all your meals because you don't have an overnight stay. What? I've been doing this for 20 years and never had a problem. When did this change and why wasn't I told in advance? Sorry, just doing what the VP of HR told me. Okay. So I head over to HR and ask what this is all about. Well, it should have been this way all along. Some managers were doing it, others not. So now it's the same for everyone. Me. Shouldn't we have gotten a notice beforehand or a written addendum to the policy manual, since this is not what the policy says? Well, it's the policy now, she says, all angry and red-faced. It's been over 3 years now, and still not in the written policy that is being handed out to new hires. Well, alrighty then. Cue the malicious compliance. Our travel coordinator is not an employee, but a contractor that gets paid on commission, so spending more means more money for her. And she does not talk to the HR other than to get what the rules are. She also approves our expenses based on what the rules are. As long as we are within the rules, automatic approval, and I get the reimbursement by direct deposit within a few days. A month later, I have to visit a customer's location, 2-hour drive from my house. I have about 4 hours of work to do. I used to do this in a single 8-hour day, easy. Not anymore. I let the travel agent know what customer I'm going to, and I will need a room for 2 nights. A day to travel there, a second day to work, and the third day travel home. So I travel there, do the work, then drive home. I do not stay overnight, don't even check into the room. But since I didn't cancel, I get charged anyway. Instead of just mileage and 1 day per diem, it's now mileage, 3 day per diem, and 2 hotel nights. What would have cost the company about $100 now costs over $400. And the next trade show, you guessed it, hotel room for 7 nights, of which I actually stayed in 2 nights, and only then because I went out with a customer for dinner and a few beers. The rest of the time, I went home. I do this for all of my travel now, especially if it's within driving distance of home. My travel expenses have gone up by 3 or 4 times what they used to be. Did anyone even notice? Nope. No one has said a single word. Not one. Hello, anyone home? Apparently not. I've even been given a decent raise. I should have slowed down and spent more of the company's money sooner. I might be CEO by now if I had. Am I the jerk for turning off my alarm in the morning, resulting in my roommate missing her first class? So this just happened about an hour ago, and I need some confirmation that I'm not in the wrong here. I'm on mobile, so apologies in advance for formatting. I'm 21, female. My roommate, who's 20, and I are living in the same college dorm together. While we don't share a room, Our rooms are adjacent to one another, and the walls are pretty thin, so we can hear each other pretty easily through them. My first class on Mondays is normally at 9 in the morning, but today I woke up a little bit before my alarm, around 7:45, and checked my email to see that it was canceled because the professor is sick. Since my next class wouldn't be until 12, I turned off my alarm and fell back asleep. Around 9:30, I woke up to the sound of my roommate rushing around and being pretty noisy. I knew she had a class at 9 too, so I was curious as to why she was still here. I got up out of bed and walked into the hallway between our rooms and saw that she was frantically running around trying to get ready. As soon as she saw me, she got this scowl on her face and angrily asked me why my alarm didn't go off. I told her my first class got canceled and that I wanted to sleep in a little. Then she tells me that, thanks to me, she's super late for her first class. Apparently, she relies on my alarm going off in the morning rather than setting one herself. I had no idea that was the case and still don't really understand why she doesn't have her own alarm clock. I tried to apologize, but she was too preoccupied and seemed to be ignoring me. After a few minutes, she was out the door, and since then I've been sitting in bed, wondering if I'm really the jerk here or if she's only got herself to blame. You tried to apologize? No. At 20, she can set her own alarm. There was no communication from her telling you she relied on your alarm. She wanted to blame someone other than herself for something 100% her fault, not the jerk. You're the jerk to yourself for apologizing when you did nothing wrong. It just gives people the message that you're an easy target to mistreat. The fact that you're even debating if you're a jerk shows you need to work on your assertiveness and self-esteem. None of this is a criticism. I know this from my own negative experiences. Your roommate is ridiculous and entitled, not the jerk. Entitled mom thinks we control the weather. I was formerly employed by a large Orlando, Florida theme park. You know, the one with the mouse? Backstory. This takes place in the middle of July, and if you've ever been in Central Florida in the summer, you know it rains pretty much every single day between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. In my role, I carried a radio like a walkie-talkie. This day, I'm in one of the parks going to a location to perform my job, and as I'm walking through the park, the sky's open. I mean, it's like buckets of water being poured out on you. I enter the location and see lots of people in ponchos and rain parkas standing around. I rarely perform my duties in the parks when they are open. When I do have to go in the parks, I usually walk with my head down, hoping no guests stop me. However, this wasn't the case on this day. Here comes entitled mom. She walks up to me, madder than a hornet. She stands in front of me, huffing and puffing, and demands to know when the rain is going to stop. This is how the exchange took place. Entitled mom.
Sir? When is the rain going to stop? My kids would like to enjoy the theme park.
Me. Ma'am, I can't be certain, but there are storms usually in this area every day.
You are ruining my kids' vacation.
Me. Excuse me, ma'am?
I saved for years to bring them here, and all it does is rain. This is all your fault.
Me. Ma'am, there isn't anything we can do about the weather. Mother Nature is crazy. This is where she goes off the rails.
BS. I know you have some kind of way to stop the weather if you want. You people are just understaffed and can't accommodate the people here.
Me. I can assure you that is far from the case, ma'am. We want all of our guests to have the best time, because if you don't, you won't come back and visit us again. You guys are the reason we're here. Entitled mom gets in my face, I mean nose to nose, and says,
Go forget yourself. Make it stop raining. Get on your little radio, and you better call someone to find something out.
I'm not the most patient person in the world, and I could feel the anger boiling inside of me. I had to disengage myself from the psycho entitled mom, or I would lose it, and my job. When there are really bad thunderstorms, like the one we were experiencing on that day, we would get random weather updates on our radios. Just then, the alert sound for an impending weather update came over my radio. I excused myself from entitled mom and stepped away to listen to the weather update. The person said the thunderstorm would exit property at around 4:35 p.m. I returned to entitled mom and said this in the most sarcastic way I could, knowing I would probably get in some kind of trouble. Me. Ma'am, I just spoke to God, and he said the rain would be gone by 4:35 p.m. Shockingly, entitled mom looked at me and said,
Thank you.
I just stood there with my mouth open, and I took this as a sign for me to exit the scene. Flash forward about an hour, and I'm still in the park. The rain had stopped, the sun was back out, and it was really humid. Just out of the corner of my eye, I spot Entitled Mom, and she's making a beeline straight for me. I think to myself, great, it was nice working here. Entitled Mom,
Thank you for calling someone so they would make it stop raining.
me, huh? Entitled Mom,
I knew you guys could turn that off.
me, still with a huh look on my face, I mumble, You're welcome, ma'am. I walked back to my work truck, laughing the entire way. The only thing supernatural is how much I look like Dean. About a month ago, I, 19 male, and my little brother, who's 14, went to our first ever Comic-Con. I started getting into the nerd and weeb groups about a year ago and have loved all the amazing content from the comfort of my home. But when I found out that there was a convention not even 2 hours from where I live, I was like, yep, time to do this. Time to venture into the unknown. I jumped the gun early, however, and went the day before all the voice actors showed up, which was the whole reason why I was going. So I wandered around and got a lay of the land before calling it and going home for the day. When the next day came, I was ready, and so was my little brother. The second day, however, was a bit different. We had a church meeting right after Comic-Con, and me being lazy, not wanting to take another change of clothes, decided to wear my Sunday best to Comic-Con. This forced my brother to have to do the same if he wanted to come with me because, you know, siblings. We get to the center and no one really pays us much mind, thankfully, because I still don't like the crowds. And I went to the first few voice actors to get their autographs and pictures. When I got up to the second voice actor, however, his assistant looked at me and said, "Are you two cosplaying Supernatural?" I kinda gave him a flat stare of confusion and said, "No, we're going to church after this." He chuckled and said that we looked exactly like Sam and Dean from Supernatural. This then caused the voice actor to look at us again and say, "Wow, they really do. They even have their hair done right." We laughed at the coincidence, and I thanked them for their time before we walked away. Not even 5 minutes later, a group of nerds came up to us and asked if we were cosplaying from Supernatural. My brother and I looked at each other and gave the look before saying yes. And would you like pictures? They emphatically said yes, as apparently they were huge fans of the show and had never seen a cosplay from the show. This continued to happen for the next 4 hours, getting random people coming up to us, asking if we were cosplayers and if they could get photos with us. All in all, it was a great experience, and I was happy to put smiles on people's faces. When I got home that night, I started watching Supernatural for the first time. I am almost done with season 1 now. Can confirm, I look a lot like Dean.
Support our channel by joining as a member today, and we'll give you a shout out in our next video.
Or come watch this video next. You won't believe what Karen does in that one.